Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on my channel, and can I just welcome all the new subscribers that joined us in the last few days. Pleased to have you on board. So in this video I'm going to do a close-up on My Fair Lady. Now there's been a lot of talk recently about the 4K release of My Fair Lady, the popular Lerner and Loewe musical which was set to film in 1964, and many consider it to be the best 4K catalogue release so far this year, and I am totally in agreement with that. In this I'm going to go behind the film as it's fascinating, and hopefully it will give you some insight into this multi-award winning classic. So My Fair Lady started its life as a play. In 1913, it was written by the Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw, and it was called Pygmalion. It told the story of the Cockney flower girl, Eliza Doolittle, and the upper-class professor Henry Higgins, a conceited man who studied vocal accents and human speech, and who wagered his friend and colleague, a retired army officer, Colonel Pickering, that he could teach her how to speak proper English, and of course make her into a lady. In 1964, musicals were very popular in the cinemas, but the market was dominated by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Fox Studios, where they had tremendous success with West Side Story and The King and I respectively. The stage musical had enjoyed tremendous Broadway success in 1956 also, so that was a hot property for Hollywood studios to snatch up the rights for. Jack Warner was the man who was the head of Warner Studios at the time, and he acquired the rights for the musical My Fair Lady for a whopping $6.5 million. The stage musical had enjoyed great success on Broadway with no other than the English flower Julie Andrews in the leading role as Eliza Doolittle. Now this is where the story really begins. Everyone now knows how brilliant and perfect Andrews is as a leading lady in The Sound of Music and Mary Poppins. The director, George Cukor, wanted her in the film, but Warner wasn't keen. She'd been known only on Broadway at that point and hadn't acted on film before. So they decided to cast the Hollywood star Audrey Hepburn in the lead role, fresh from her success a few years earlier as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's for Paramount Studios. She looked superb in the camera tests, but the problem wasn't that she wasn't great looking on camera. It was that she wasn't an amazing singer. The screen test showed clearly that she just couldn't hit those high notes with precision, but she looked stunning in the costume and makeup. Director George Cukor decided that Hepburn would have to be dubbed over. So the production team assigned a singer at the time working for the studios called Marni Nixon. She had already dubbed all the songs for Natalie Wood as Maria in West Side Story a few years earlier for MGM, and of course she delivered those songs, Wouldn't It Be Lovely and I Could Have Danced All Night, beautifully with her pure soprano high range. She wouldn't get any credit though for it, not for some years at least. Hepburn wasn't pleased that they didn't use her vocal track, but she couldn't really do anything about it. She'd signed the contract. There was one song though, part of her original vocal did remain on, and that was Just You Wait, where she sang angrily as Cockney Eliza. It was preferred as a final track, with partial dubbing by Nixon and Charles Fredericks. They also dubbed British actor Jeremy Brett's song, On the Street Where You Live. Bill Shirley sang that vocal. Now the cast for My Fair Lady was a major coup for the studio. It had Wilfred Hyde-White as Colonel Pickering, Mona Washburn as Mrs. Pierce. Now she wasn't Scottish like in the play, but English. A young Jeremy Brett playing Freddie Eynsford Hill, Gladys Cooper as Mrs. Higgins, and the comedian and music hall star Stanley Holloway as Alfred Doolittle, Eliza's father. Now he'd been in the Broadway version of the musical with a little bit of luck and Get Me to the Church on Time are both superb set pieces, absolutely made for Holloway's music hall style, and the whole thing had brash and fast choreography evoking the Cockney London feel of the time. Well, it wasn't quite like that, as we know. Lastly, we have Rex Harrison, a well-spoken English actor who had performed in the stage musical as well. However, for the film version, instead of singing like he'd done on stage, he developed a unique talk singing style which worked beautifully on his songs, The Rain in Spain and I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face. He didn't have to sing too much, as he was cast primarily for his acting ability. He did have a bit of a tiff with the director though over the lyrics to the song You Did It. He refused to sing them. They were cut out, but Cukor changed his mind and put them back in, and Rex Harrison had to acquiesce in the end. Now, the costumes for My Fair Lady were designed by British fashion couturier Cecil Beaton, and the film had one of the largest ever budgets for a musical of its time, and it shot on massive sound stages. The film had its premiere at the Criterion Theatre in New York on Wednesday, October 21st, 1964, and it enjoyed a massive box office success. But when it came to the awards the following year, it was showered with praise, and it took 8 of the 12 Academy Awards it was nominated for. Here they are. Best Picture, Jack L. Warner, producer. Best Director, George Cukor. Best Actor, Rex Harrison. Best Art Direction, Colour, Gene Allen, Cecil Beaton and George James Hopkins. Best Cinematography, Colour, Harry Stradling. Best Costume Design, Colour, Cecil Beaton. Best Scoring of Music, Adaptation or Treatment, the one and only Andre Previn. Best Sound, George R. Groves. Now, the budget for the film was $17 million, which was a lot for a musical at the time, but it grossed $72 million worldwide. Robert A. Harris, the archivist, was asked to lend his expertise to a new version, working from 8K scans of the original camera negative and other surviving 65mm elements. Now, here is that Blu-ray, which, as you can see, has beautiful packaging and is packed with additional features. It also includes a lovelier than ever documentary hosted by Jeremy Brett, as well as behind the scenes and Hepburn's original vocal takes. Very nice package, as you can see. There we go. Very shiny, very glossy looking. Now, incidentally, Harris restored Lawrence of Arabia and Spartacus and Vertigo and The Godfather, in fact. Not all of them, but certainly most of those are available on 4K. Now, here we are in 2021, and we see the results of that restoration presented on 4K disc, and all I can say is it's stunning. The colours are superb. The print itself is immaculate. Really excited to see how people respond to this classic musical, and hope that others like West Side Story and The Sound of Music get the treatment they thoroughly deserve. So let's compare the discs. So the 2015 Blu-ray release, and there are lots of features on that. As you can see, I'm just showing you the cover now, because there's no Blu-ray version of the film in the new 4K set either. Now, I think this is a new common trend which is starting to occur on releases now. The sound on the 4K release is also stepped up a notch. It's a Dolby True HD 7.1 mix, but it's in 96K. Now, for purists among you, that's twice the normal resolution of a soundtrack, and it sounds amazing on my setup here at home, particularly the resonance of the orchestra. Now, I hope you found all of that interesting. If you want me to do another close-up on any other movies, just let me know down below in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. For me, it's not just about watching the movie that matters, it's how it was made and the history behind the production itself. Until next time, stay safe, and above all, keep watching those movies.